Alright, so we finished up opposite armor, so next up we will go to Hollow Bastion. Now this is a bit of a long world, and like I said in the last video, make sure you get Dumbo, because if you don't, your run's not dead, but you are going to lose a lot of time missing out on Dumbo, and for whatever reason that's just a bad habit that I have of not getting him. So I just included him as a split for my runs personally, because that is the one thing I tend to forget. Because I'm so I have so much tunnel vision when it comes to in-game where I'm like, okay, I just want to get to Hollow Bastion as fast as possible, and then I forget Dumbo, and yeah, I lose some time. But let's make sure we're boosting through this stuff. I'm trying to get there as fast as possible, but also safe. Because we could take a lot of damage, especially on Proud. And you want to kind of stay in the middle here. You can go a little bit to the left, but don't stay near the right, because there are like these ships that spawn out of nowhere. And I have had the luxury of having those hit me. And yeah, I just basically die. So we have to redo this whole entire segment, which sucks. They should be popping up soon. These guys right there, you don't want them to run into you, because you will die. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're just going to die. And they're going to come again. Make sure you're just out of their way. And we've made it to Hollow Bastion. So we're going to go ahead and disembark here. And make sure you're pressing that triangle. It's a good habit to get into, especially for these little text boxes. Now if your mobility is great here, you can get up here by the time that first platform drops down, which we just saw real quick. But my mobility is trash, not gonna lie to you. Like if I was fast enough, I could reach it on that first try, but that's something I just need to work on. But we'll go over here. I'm just gonna dodge roll over here, because the scene prompts once you're in that radius. You don't have to be going up for it to prompt, which is nice. Then we have Beast in our party here. Now what we're going to do is actually pick up this Mega Elixir right here. Depending on how you feel about it, you can either do this on the first visit like I am, or you can come back on the second visit, because we have to come back anyways and get it then. But I just like to try and get certain things, you know, as I'm here the first time, so the second time I can just go through it all willy-nilly and not have any issues. But it's up to you, it's personal preference. It's the same thing as Dumbo. You can get the Water Gleam from Dumbo on the first visit if you want, or when you come back the second time to warp to Halloween Town, you can get them then. But we're going to head underneath here with the bubble. And Beast is our only DPS at this point in time, because especially with Final Mix, the sword got super nerfed, so we do like garbage damage. I mean, magic works, but we have such limited MP. In Standard and Proud, it's not really viable, and I mean, we just need to progress through the game, not really do combat. So here's like a little very simple puzzle. I like to think of it as like 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this was the first node, so I call that 1. This is 2, and we just go through it. This is 3. This is 4. So we only have to fight one enemy, which is a defender here, and we're going to be relying mainly on Beast's DPS to take him out. But what you can do is go ahead and prep your shortcut menu for gravity, because that's what we're going to be using on him. And I don't have gravity set in my shortcut, so that's why I went through the actual magic menu for that. Actually, I do. I lied. But what I like to do is 2 gravities. Then we're going to call Beast over there, and bam, he's out. You want to call Beast with triangle after you do the 2 gravities because you don't want him to whiff it or just take off half his HP, because that's going to lose some time out there for you. But we're going to come back over here. And you know how I said 1, 2, 3, 4? Well, just to get out of here, all that we have to do is hit 3 and 2. And then we can make like a tree and dip like a chip. So we got that one down. And then that one. And it's time for us to go. Make sure you're dodge rolling. And I like to touch the save point right here just to recover the MP that I expended from using gravity. That way when it comes to Riku 1, we're already topped up and ready to go. Now over here, we're going to skip these dark balls once again because they are a little waste of time. So all you have to do is run in this corner, dodge roll a little bit. And then, I mean, you can turn the camera around if you want, so you'll know when they despawn, but we don't want to engage any enemies. We just want to get through this as quick as possible. So we're going to make our way over here to Riku 1 now. Very awkward fight. I don't think there's any set strategy, especially in standard or proud, for him, just because his AI is wonky. You can't really loop him like we'll loop Ansem Riku 2, but, you know. You gotta work with what you get. My biggest thing though is try to keep him in a corner if possible, and using arrow in this battle is actually fantastic. Alright, he clapped my cheeks, so we're gonna do this again. We're gonna try and keep him in a corner if possible and use R's, but if you want to throw arrow up here, it's not a bad idea. It is just an awful fight. I'm wondering if there's like a slap shot strategy I can apply to him. The slap shot is actually pretty pog. I mean, the damage on it isn't amazing since we don't have Wishing Star. Gotta keep track of my HP. Just a very awkward boss fight, dude. And he just ignores your moves. That's the problem, like, he doesn't really stagger. Yeah, that was a terrible way to do that fight. Absolutely terrible way to do that fight. But we're going to keep Donald and Goofy in our party because we do need them for the Trinity, though it doesn't really matter at this point because we will be leaving here afterwards. I just had the right idea with him, but this is something I need to test further of how great Slapshot is in that case. I know it doesn't, it's not as beneficial as much since we don't have Wishing Star, but if I could do anything to, you know, help further strats along, that's something I would definitely enjoy to do. But anyways, we're going to put these books up here, and we're actually going to warp out of here before we continue because we have to go to Agrabah to help power up Sora because he's just so weak in Standard and Proud without that additional power boost. Even though we're running DPS build Sora. Well, not DPS build, but DPS orientated since we picked the sword in the beginning. But we're going to go over here to Agrabah real quick, and we're going to warp to the storage, which is what we did in the very beginning of the game when we were here at Agrabah the first time. So we'll go to Agrabah storage, which is the first menu. Make sure you're dodge rolling, and we're going to head back to the Cave of Wonders. Now we're coming here now just because we got the White Trinity so we can get Ifrit's belt, which is right over here, which will help us finish our DPS build of Soar so we can maximize our attack versus magic. You will see a magic build later on, but that's the modes that we switch in between because Soar can't be both in terms of the speedrun environment for here. Running the game, I think, with magic on Standard and Proud, I think they used to do that. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe they used to do that, but I think Sword is just in some ways harder, but in many ways easier. Alright, so we're going to head back to the library here, and this is our next menu. So what I'm going to do over here is take off White Fang and put on Ifrit's Belt. We can see that we lose 1 AP and then 1 defense, but we also gain 2 strength. But it looks like I have too many abilities equipped at the moment. So what I'm going to do is take off Slapshot, because we won't need that when we go fight regular Mel. I mean, you could keep it up there, but you don't have to have that. For Donald and Goofy, you could put on MP Haste, MP Rage, and Second Wind for Donald. And for Goofy, if you want to put Tornado on, that's fine. You could put Cheer on as well. And also Second Wind, not a big thing here. For Beast, I'm going to go ahead and remove that and put on Critical Plus. Now we're going to keep Donald and Goofy in our party because we still need them for some of the Trinities later on. But for this mini right here, I'm putting an Elixir in both the first and third slot. And then we're going to fill up the other slots with Ethers. So those Ethers that we've been stealing all along have a purpose. And their purpose is now. So we're going to go ahead and do this little puzzle right here. I don't have fire on my shortcut menu though, so that's why I'm doing it this way. And Sora will actually hit this freaking thing. That would be splendid. He just wants to aim towards the middle of it, which I understand is like an action point for the game, but yeah, it sucks sometimes. We're gonna come over here and do this Trinity, since we need that emblem. Alright, that should be it. I used to think that we needed Thunder to complete this part of the game, but we don't. We can just glide over here and grab this emblem. We'll go down and aim for the fountain. We got that one, and I'm pressing triangle to get the text to go away, which, like I said before, is a really great habit to have. We'll grab this one as well. So we have all the pieces. Now it's time to dodge roll ourselves to our destination. And we're making our way through Hall of Bastion. It's just that there's just so much, especially in this world alone, that it's just insane. Alright, let's go ahead and head up here. So we're going to go this way, past his defender, try and dodge him, especially on Proud, because if he hits, he's going to hit. So we're going to go over here and try and make these wyverns despawn by getting over here as quickly as possible. You can apply stop to them, but I don't feel safe doing that since I have like literally no MP. And I will need MP for a Dumbo skip. I wasn't fast enough to not make him come over here, but that's okay. We'll get rid of him. Other one should be gone. And we come over here just to get this Haste 2G, which will help speed up our gummy ship to its maximum potential for the run. Hop on this platform. Now we're going to glide over here and try and reach the center of this without touching anything. Just like that. Because if you touch any of the other tiles or get closer to the area, Heartless will spawn out and you can either fight them, which again will kind of waste your time, or just leave the area and redo that whole entire part again, which sucks, but it's like if you don't do it right, well, congratulations, you have some time loss. Now we can sit right here to where like the game has like a little texture issue or whatever, where it's not equal at. That's where a lot of runners sit at when they're waiting for the Heartless to spawn in here on the elevator. And as you see, I was hitting them 1, 2, because Sora's not strong enough to do a combo on them and kill them. So I try to do that so they don't get away, because if you do a combo, after that they'll automatically break free and there's nothing you can do. You just have to literally take it, and it sucks because they'll teleport and they may do some magic where you can hit them, or they may do thunder and you just have to suffer through it. So that's why I try to do 1, 2, 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3 to make sure that they're dead. Alright, so we hit this other trinity right here. We need those cottages for later and the Mega Elixir. I'm going to go ahead and prep Dumbo in the menu right here so the game saves it, because next up is our first Dumbo skip of 3. This is why we picked up Dumbo. It may have seemed pointless before, but trust me, especially in terms of a speedrun, if you see someone doing a certain thing, it's for a reason. So we're going to try and dodge roll over there as fast as we can and then summon Dumbo near that corner. That way hopefully we can just go up, dismiss him, and flick up to the entrance and bypassing both of these parts right here. Which is a big deal, because if you forget Dumbo, you have to literally fight through not this part but the other part to the left of this part to make it go down, so you can glide over and just ignore that big block over there. And that takes at least 1 or 2 minutes roughly, especially on Proud, because obviously Sora's lack of damage is a big issue, which is why we do the Dumbo skip, because it saves us a lot of time. But we're gonna give this a shot. I have terrible luck with this, I feel. Maybe I just don't have enough experience with it, but sometimes it goes good, sometimes it doesn't. You want to try and do this as quickly and as safely as possible, because if not, that will happen. And since that happened, we're going to go over here. We're going to come back, and we're going to try it again. Like, you'll go to grab the freaking ledge and the wyvern will just come out and just smack you down. It makes me absolutely sick. But if you're super speedy with it, you won't have that issue. It's just like you have to go in, be precise, and that is it. Which is a lot of this speed run. If you're not precise, it's just a rest in peace. Alright, my MP is kind of low though, so I'm going to go ahead and pop one of the Mega Ethers I picked up earlier in the game, just so that way I'm kind of topped off on MP, and we're going to go straight into a Maleficent. I'm double checking my equipment though, because I do have Raven's Claw and Ifrit spell on. Items should be nice, and in the ideal speed situation, that menu that we did back at the library is it. Like, we're not checking anything until this point. So next up, we're going to go to regular Maleficent. Now we're going to try and glide up to her platform first, and then get a couple hits off of her, and then start doing R's. Now the key to this fight is to not do any finishers. That includes R's. You always want to stop R's at the last hit, because, well, the second to last hit, because the last hit will prompt her and stagger her, which will make her go into her little green phase, and that's just a waste of time for the little green flame stuff. And that's a lot for a lot of bosses. There's something called like a revenge value, where if you hit them at a certain amount of times or do a certain move or certain damage, that they'll automatically kick back, which we can take advantage of for Ansem Riku or Riku 2. But in this fight, we don't want that, so we're going to give this a shot. Remember, you can hit her, just don't do any finishers from anything. Alright, so that analog stick 4, we're going to glide up here. And then 2, 3 hits, no finishers. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Didn't want that to happen. We're going to try and knock these guys off if possible, because they hit like an F word. Now she should have died from that, which she just did now. But that smell, now this fight sucks if it doesn't go like that. That is probably the smoothest regular Mel that I had. Especially since it actually took me a couple tries to get this down properly. Just to show you guys how it's done. But she's down. If you need to, you can switch the elixir from your 3rd slot to the 2nd slot and just run 2 elixirs instead, because I kept my ethers and she went down then. The main part though is after you burst her down, especially since you're not doing finishers on her, is just getting those defenders out of the way, because with those guys out of the way, you can then, you know, continue to focus on bursting her down. But if the defenders are there, there's a good chance that you may die in that fight just because it's 2 hits and it's a rest in peace. On standard, not a big deal, but obviously getting knocked off the platform sucks as well. But I'm going to go ahead and end the video here because Hollow Bastion is quite chunky, and I just want to take time and focus on the other 2 bosses, which one of the bosses, Dragomel, is probably the most technical part of this speedrun, and then Ansamriku is also technical, but in my opinion he's not that bad. So I will see you guys in the next part.